almost universally known for being not only an absolute turd, but for being one of the worst cars
I've seen
of
Yugo
all
before.
time. Well, today, I'm going to prove to you, no, I'm going to have the car prove to you why all of that is complete nonsense. And this is actually a very good car.
Yeah, and you own a German car called a Yeah, you own a Russian car called a Shervant.
I have no idea how fast I was spinning. There's no tachometer because that would be a feature. And that would raise the cost of the car. If I was a hard-hitting automotive journalist sinking my shark teeth into a fresh automotive victim, then I think I would probably start with the interior. So my quest to have the Yugo prove itself worthy shall start with the interior, specifically the things you interact with the most in here. Let's start with the steering wheel. Okay, it feels super cheap, almost like a 1950s Bakelite or something. But
what the hell is that?
It can be forgiven for using cheap materials. It's a cheap car. It uses cheap materials.
Well, it costs $4,000.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s when the car came out, it was like what, $4,000 bucks? Actually, that's what it cost when it was brand new. When the car came out back in the 80s, it's only $40,000. Like that's the funny thing. Back in the 80s when the Yugo came out, it was like $40,000. Actually, $4,000 back in the 80s. That's like $8,000 today. The cheapest car you can buy today, you can buy a cheap car for about, you can buy a cheap Mitsubishi for like 15 grand. Or I should say, you can buy, you can get a Suzuki, you can buy a cheap Mitsubishi something. You can buy a cheap Mitsubishi, I don't know, there's a cheap Mitsubishi you can buy for like 10 grand on Auto Trader. 10 grand. When the stereo price is actually 14. The Yugo, back then the car cost about $4,000 brand new. I can get me a new car, like a brand new car on Auto Trader for like 10 grand. 10 grand today, in today's money. And it would have hardly 80 miles on it. This is a car called a Mitsubishi Mitsubishi something. The brands, Doug DeMille did a video on, and they're so cheap. Gas gauge, that's an option on it. A cup holder, that's an option. Cruise control, that's an option. It uses a cheap little 3-cylinder engine, okay, for a new car, which that doesn't seem bad. But the Yugo was alright too.
Good. For items like the dash, it's fine to use cheap, horrible-to-touch plastic because you don't drive down the road caressing your soft dash, so why spend more money on materials for areas like that? As long as the materials they use don't warp, crack, break in any way, like they haven't, then, yeah, go ahead, use cheap materials. Where you should use more expensive, nicer-to-touch materials is in places that you often touch, like these switches. Okay, the switches actually sort of somehow feel worse than dash, but that's probably not the norm. Okay, so the switches aren't good, but what else is there? There's the climate controls. You'll touch them often, and they actually feel terrible as well. They feel like they're set in something akin to like
3 switches.
Chewed gum, maybe, and actuating them forces you to touch the horrible dash pieces, the plastic dash pieces around them. So that's not good. But look how simple and easy they are to use. You just got 3 knobs here. Well, actually, I say simple, but the fan speed controls are inexplicably over here in the switch panel on the complete opposite side of the car, so your passenger can't control your fan speed, but they can control your temperature. Maybe the climate controls aren't exactly the best example of putting money where it matters. How about these column stocks here? Oh, the column stocks. They're actually quite fantastic to use. They have a nice affirmative action, and they don't feel like they're going to snap off on your hand. Plus, they only move up and down. None of this forward and back nonsense. The bright dim selector is a separate stock altogether. Yeah, they do look a little bit past it. They're quite chalky looking, and for some reason the bright dim selector is much larger than the blinker stock, so you accidentally hit that all the time. But otherwise, well done, Yugo. Another example of money where it matters is the door. First of all, just listen to it. Sounds solid, aside from that horrible rattle or whatever that was. And the niceness doesn't stop with the solid sound of the door. Look at the door panel. It's covered in this nice, soft...
crap.
Whatever this is, the door handle is covered in this nice,
These are the Yugo's one of the back of a bridge
material, and it's all very not horrible to put your arm on. You may be wondering what this little hole is for. Well, that's where the door handle normally goes, but unfortunately on Yugo's it seems to be made of some sort of plastic twig, so it's broken off on this one like they tend to do. Also, the door doesn't have any detents on it, so it's either closed or trying to close, which is kind of unfortunate. But overall, the door is a quality package. Also, look at these little rotary locks.
That's different.
So neat. Okay, so maybe the cost cutting is widespread, and they didn't focus the money into the things you interact with the most. But all is not lost.
It is all right.
The Yugo is still a very cheap car. There's more to a car than interior trim pieces. I mean, they don't really matter anyway, do they? So maybe the Yugo can still redeem itself and prove itself a worthy commuter car. The Yugo has tons of storage space to meet your practicality.
I know it's a car.
For example, it is a hatchback. So you can just open the hatch and bear witness to your vast cargo capacity. I mean, look at this. It even has, sort of, a parcel shelf to cover your belongings. Yeah, let's just assume that doesn't exist there. And if you need more space, just fold down your rear seats to give you plenty of extra storage volume. Look at that. And vastly increase your storage space. I mean, no, they don't fold flat, but
Yugo's alright.
Folding seats would require engineering, and that would cost you money. Yes, if I had to complain, I could find some things to complain about. For instance, this load lip, it is rather high, so you'll strain yourself lifting stuff over it to put in the back. And yes, when the hatch is closed, it looks like it just sort of overlaps the bodywork instead of fitting flush with it. It makes it look a bit like an afterthought. And the bottom of the hatch has drain holes in it, which is fantastic. Drain holes are required to let the water run out of the bodywork so it doesn't pool there and cause rust. Unfortunately, the drain holes on this hatch are actually just above the absolute bottom of the hatch, so water still pools in there and causes rust, like is very evident on this one. But all these things are forgivable, right? Yeah, the Yugo can still...
The Yugo's alright. Man, I was watching
Introducing
Doug
KFC's
DeMuro
newest
anyway.
$5 fill-up, the Mac and Cheese Bowl. It's finger-licking.
Okay, we're going to Doug DeMuro.
Ooh, chicken. Cheese.
We're going to Doug DeMuro, which has the cheapest car made.
Chicken. Cheese. Look at all
Doug.
those $5 fill-ups. KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Doug DeMuro. Now here's the cheapest car you can buy is a it's called a Mitsubishi, or now